Mr. Doonan, we do call this a walk and talk, so should we start walking and start talking?
Yes, let's
awesome.
do that.
Let's do that. We are here at the Mobil One 12 Hours of Sebring, Mr. Doonan, coming off of a spectacular start to the year. End of January, Rolex 24 at Daytona. We got some more newsy topical things to get to here shortly about Sebring, but why don't we open with a little update on Rolex 24. What kind of feedback did you get from your GTP manufacturers, GT manufacturers, major partners? It felt like there was crazy great energy coming out of that race. Were you hearing the same thing?
Without a doubt, if you add up everything that transpired, first of all-time record crowd for that 61st running of the Rolex 24. The fans obviously spoke, and the manufacturers spoke with their activations on site, which got the fans even more engaged. So you use the word energy, and that's something that we used a lot internally at the office because you felt it. It wasn't manufactured energy, it was real. I think the other piece, the broadcast, people tuned in.
Yeah.
Nearly 30% year-over-year increase.
Crazy numbers.
In people being excited. Certainly, the new GTP category was a huge attraction, but in addition to that, we launched Win the Weekend, which of course you now are a star of.
Worst ratings ever for the one I was on, but that's fine. That's fine.
But in the end, we have a bunch of folks that are maybe new to the sport of endurance sports car racing that are seeing GTP, seeing IMSA, seeing events like the Rolex 24, and now seeing an event that's running its 71st running this weekend here at Sebring as something they want more of. And that's exciting for all of us on the IMSA family side, and I think all of the manufacturers and the teams that participate can immediately see the value in it.
So crazy positive energy coming out of Daytona. We spoke, whatever it was, about a week ago on some not fun stuff. Can't ignore the elephant in the room. I know we want to put the penalty and such behind us with Meyer Shank Racing, but you also mentioned we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't at least touch on that a little bit. When we spoke, I mentioned to you, I don't know if I've heard you more down and really upset on a personal level, John, knowing the penalties have been applied, the team acknowledged that they cheated. Tell me about that process for you as IMSA president. It sure seemed like it weighed heavy on your heart.
It does. It did, and it still does, and I think it probably will for a long time. You know, when IMSA was founded, John and Peggy Bishop, Bill France Sr., they founded it on a set of core values that individuals would have the opportunity to come compete on a level playing field in fair competition. And obviously, what IMSA was informed of was not fair, and we acted as we had to, put us in a tough spot, but we had to act, and we acted in what we believed, after a deep investigation, was the most fair way. But as a racer, as a fan that came to the track as a little boy like you did, you know, you watched a race, you saw someone celebrate in victory lane, you left the track understanding that they were the winner of the race.
Is that kind of one of the guiding principles in deciding whether to disqualify or not? Because they kept the win.
Yeah.
They really didn't get to keep the points or the spoils.
There's a lot in the investigation that, and this was such a unique and difficult set of parameters when it came to the overall investigation, I'll say. And we ended up in a place where we felt, given all of the information we had, the data we gathered, we made the best decision we could, based on the fact that post-race technical inspection, which I know, as you know, because you were there, Matt Kurdock and Eric Haverson did an incredible job for 36 hours after the race examining these cars. The provisional race results, the official race results went out, and then we learned of the situation. So like you say, this one will eat away at me, and I know a lot of my colleagues, and I think many others for a long time. And that's probably all I can probably say at the moment.
Do we put a bow tie on this and say that when you see Mike Shank, or if you've already seen him, do you all shake hands and say, slate's clean, let's move forward?
Well, I think for the good of our sport, we have to learn from these things. I think I've certainly learned a lot personally. I think our staff and teams and OEMs have learned a lot. So we have to get on with racing for sure. And there's a lot of deep and personal relationships. Another core value of IMSA is how we operate as a IMSA family. So we got work to do, and we'll keep working at it.
So we're getting close to turn 17, the place where the hashtag respect the bumps concept came from. We get not only 12 hours of IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship racing on Saturday, previous day, your friends and partners at the FIWEC, we get 1,000 miles / 8 hours of weckety-weck LMDHs, their hypercars and the hypercar overall class, our GTP cars, bit of a preview of what's coming in June at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Tell me about your friend Pierre Fillon, head of the ACO, Terry Bouvet, technical side there. This is a great first gathering of both series in these amazing new cars. Tell me about this. We get to see it all play out here.
Yeah, well, first of all, this place, so historic. Obviously the fans again have spoken, the record crowd here as well for the 71st running. But you know, we talked at Daytona about, you know, this is a moment in time for our sport of endurance sports car racing. And now we fast forward 6 weeks or whatever it's been since Daytona, we have another moment.
Yeah.
Spoke to Pierre leading into this week, spoke to Frederic leading into this week, spoke to Richard Mille leading into this week, and the excitement and energy among all of them, and certainly on our side with Mr. France, Ed Bennett, Mike Helton, our board, the level of excitement to be able to bring what we discussed we were going to do in January of 2020 to fruition, and both platforms being on the same track, on the same weekend. Obviously, some cars that have been built to LMDH technical regulations in the WEC 1,000 miles of Sebring and in the 12 hours of Sebring, but they're all here. And now we have an opportunity, and there's been a lot of discussion about how do you balance these two different platforms. Well, Terry Bouvet, Simon, Matt, Kurdock on our side, these guys have worked tirelessly with other partners to get to this place. And to be honest with you, it's hard to tell. The prologue, much like our roar, is hard to tell where people are stacking up. But I think what you're going to see when the going gets tough and when points and race wins are on the line, the fact that we have two platforms that can coexist in hopes that come, you know, the 100th anniversary at Le Mans in June and our Petit Le Mans and our 6 hour, that we start seeing the true coming together of the two platforms in some of the most incredible sports car racing we've ever seen.
I'm going to hit you with two final items, then I know you've got to go do something pretty cool, and we'll talk some more. We've got a couple other topics. Garage 56, cool new initiative between IMSA and the SCCA. We'll do a separate video for those, but I want to hit on two other things quickly. IMSA Hall of Fame.
Yes.
First class of people and cars, which is very unique to us in endurance racing. I know you've been putting in some hours, Mark Raffoff, a bunch of folks to make things happen. Tell folks about this.
Yeah, we announced last August that we would like to establish an IMSA Hall of Fame. It's going to be a really unique virtual Hall of Fame, a website to start out with. But you think about what you and I, we didn't collect baseball cards when we were little kids. We studied race results, we studied photos, we went to the track and played in the dirt with our Matchbox cars. I just got the chance, thanks to the nominating committee who brought forward an incredible slate of candidates, selection committee, which you're part of, our heroes. The men, women, of course, in the case of Peggy Bishop, John and Peggy Bishop, they started this. We wouldn't be standing here today continuing the history of IMSA if it wasn't for them. Bill France Sr., of course, with John and Peggy, really decided that North America needed IMSA. Al Holbert.
One of my heroes.
I was on the phone with Hurley Haywood today. I was on the phone with Todd Holbert, Al's son. Simon Gregg on behalf of Peter Gregg. Scott Pruett, you know, just emotional on the phone.
Never heard of that guy, but
yeah,
good enough.
But the emotion out of those folks, what they accomplished, but what it means to them to be recognized in that manner, the impact they've had on the sport, and then the cars, hundreds of different race cars over time. The C5R Corvette,
yellow V8,
thunderous, victory at Daytona, victory across the pond at Le Mans. Near and dear to my heart, I had to abstain.
Yes, you did.
But the Mazda RX-7, my ears still ringing from those days, and what that car accomplished for racers to come in and compete at an entry level. Of course, the Ferrari 333 SP, what a sweet sound. That car will be recognized in the inaugural class. And then, you know, to round it all out, we're proud to have the Porsche 962. What a era that car had in its lifespan. 10 plus years as being relevant was really special.
Last item, and I'm going to point over here and let's see if we can capture a little bit of some Corvette corral, one of the great traditions at Sebring and many other IMSA races as well, John. But we talk a lot about GTP because it's new, it's hybrid, but hey, I don't know if they're hybrid yet, we hope, but Corvette, staple of GT racing in America. Is there another American brand that has a rich GT history that may or may not? Rumor is we might have a Mustang-ish thing that could be testing here soon, that's debuting in 2024 in GT3 to get a proper war going again between Michigan products. Tell me about the GT side, because we love the new stuff. I know you got an eye on 2024 though.
There's no doubt, and I said at the Rolex, if you like IMSA racing right now, the variety of multi-class prototype GT, but especially in the GT category, everything that's racing here this weekend and that will race with us in the years to come is identifiable by our current fans and certainly we hope new fans. So yes, Corvette unveils a GT3 car at Daytona, which is awesome. Mustang next year will be competing in GT. They announced it last September in Detroit. They're coming. So if you like IMSA racing today, it's going to get better. Along
with all the other brands that have been here and
no
continue
doubt, no doubt. And it's incumbent on us with our manufacturer partners to make sure those cars all have a successful launch when they come into competition. And that's where you get into BOP and performance capabilities of these cars. And I can certainly commit to the fans that it's our intention always to have people have a fair shot at a victory and a fair shot at a fight, and that's what we're going to dedicate ourselves to over the next, hard to believe, 9-10 months when those new cars are going to show their face in racing conditions, but there'll be a lot of public or private testing footage for everyone to see.
He's John Doonan. He's the one who came up with the walk and talk idea. So I did one with Colton Herta. I got to pay him royalties,
sure.
anything. So
Yes.
this guy, he's just making money off me, but that's okay. We appreciate you, John Doonan.
Thanks, Marshall.